How Galileo risked his life to rewrite the universe. In the early 17th century, the universe was already decided, not by evidence, not by observation, but by authority. For centuries, humanity believed it lived at the center of creation. The earth stood still, while the heavens turned gracefully around it, an elegant cosmic design ordained by God himself. To question this was not curiosity, it was rebellion, and rebellion in Galileo Galilei's time could cost you your freedom or your life. Yet one man dared to look beyond tradition. Armed with curiosity, mathematics, and a simple telescope, Galileo would challenge the most powerful institution on Earth and forever change how we understand the universe. This is the story of how Galileo risked everything to rewrite reality itself, a universe that could not be questioned. For nearly 1,500 years, Western civilization lived under a single, unquestioned vision of the cosmos, one inherited from the ancient Greek philosophers Aristotle and Ptolemy. According to their teachings, the universe was carefully ordered, stable, and complete. At its center sat the Earth, heavy, motionless, and uniquely important. It did not drift through space or orbit anything. Instead, everything else revolved around it. The moon, the sun, the wandering planets, and the distant stars were believed to be fixed into vast, invisible crystal spheres, nested one inside another. These spheres rotated in perfect harmony, carrying the heavens across the sky each night. Beyond them lay the realm of the divine, unchanging, flawless, and eternal. In this worldview, the heavens were fundamentally different from Earth. While the world below was messy, imperfect, and constantly changing, the sky above was pure and incorruptible. Nothing new could appear there. Nothing could decay. The universe was already finished. But this system was far more than an astronomical model. It was theology. The Catholic Church embraced geocentrism because it aligned seamlessly with religious doctrine. Biblical passages were interpreted to confirm that the earth stood still, anchored by God's will, while the sun and stars moved according to his design. Humanity's central place in the cosmos reflected its spiritual importance in creation itself. To question this cosmic order was not simply to debate science, it was to challenge scripture. As a result, geocentrism became institutionalized. Universities taught it as unquestionable fact. Professors lectured from ancient texts rather than from observation. Scholars repeated the same ideas generation after generation, not because they were tested, but because they were inherited. Priests defended the model from the pulpit. Students memorized it. Doubt was discouraged. Curiosity was dangerous. No one questioned it, because no one was supposed to. To suggest that Earth might move, or that the heavens might change, was to undermine centuries of philosophy, theology, and authority. It was to imply that the Church, God's representative on earth, could be mistaken, and in a world where faith and power were inseparable, that was not just controversial, it was dangerous. Galileo, a mind that refused to obey. Galileo Galilei was born in 1564 in Pisa, Italy, into a world governed by tradition, hierarchy, and unquestioned authority. Knowledge was inherited, not discovered. Truth was something handed down from the past, preserved in ancient texts, and protected by institutions that rarely tolerated doubt. Galileo's family expected him to become a physician, a respectable and stable profession. He enrolled in medical studies, but his interest quickly faded. What truly captured his imagination was mathematics. To Galileo, numbers were honest. They did not bend to opinion or tradition. They revealed patterns that authority could not hide. At a time when scholars relied almost entirely on Aristotle's writings, Galileo embraced a radical belief: truth should be found in nature itself, through observation and experiment, not memorized from ancient books. While other philosophers debated ideas in lecture halls, Galileo conducted experiments. He measured time by counting his pulse. He rolled balls down inclined planes to understand motion. He tested how objects fell, discovering that nature followed mathematical laws rather than philosophical arguments. This method was deeply unsettling to traditional scholars. Galileo was no longer asking what should be true, he was asking what actually was. Even before his greatest discoveries, this approach made him controversial. But soon, Galileo would turn his attention upward, toward the sky, and what he was about to see would shake the very structure of the universe itself. The telescope that shattered heaven in 1609. Galileo heard rumors of a curious invention from the Netherlands, a simple tube fitted with lenses that could make distant objects appear startlingly close. Merchants used it to spot ships on the horizon. Soldiers used it to see enemies from afar. Galileo saw something else. He didn't merely copy the device. He rebuilt it, refined it, and improved it through trial and error. Within months, Galileo had constructed a telescope powerful enough to magnify objects 20 times, far beyond anything that existed at the time. But instead of pointing it toward the earth, Galileo pointed it toward the heavens. What he saw stunned him. The moon, long believed to be a flawless, divine sphere, was scarred with shadows. Its surface was rough and uneven, marked by mountains, valleys, and craters, just like the earth below. The heavens, it seemed, were not perfect after all. Then Galileo turned his telescope toward the Milky Way. What had always appeared as a faint, cloudy band of light suddenly exploded into view. It was not a mist. It was a vast ocean of countless individual stars, stretching farther than the human eye had ever imagined. And then came Jupiter. Night after night, Galileo noticed small points of light clustered around the planet. They shifted position. Some vanished. Others returned. At first, he was confused. Then he understood. These were moons, not circling Earth, but orbiting Jupiter itself. With that single realization, the foundation of the old universe cracked. If moons could orbit another planet, then Earth was no longer the center of all motion. The heavens were not perfect, and humanity was no longer at the center of creation. The sun, Venus, and a dangerous truth. Galileo's discoveries only became more threatening. He observed dark blemishes moving across the sun, sunspots. This meant the sun was imperfect and changing, directly contradicting church teaching. Even more damning was Venus. Through his telescope, Galileo saw Venus go through phases, crescent, half full, just like the moon. There was only one explanation. Venus orbited the sun. And if Venus orbited the sun, then Earth might too. This supported the heliocentric model proposed decades earlier by Nicolaus Copernicus, a theory the Church had already viewed with suspicion. Galileo now faced a choice: remain silent and safe, or speak the truth and risk everything. He chose truth, fame, pride, and the turning point. At first, Galileo was celebrated. Kings admired him, scholars praised him, church officials even used his telescope. But Galileo was not subtle. He openly criticized philosophers who refused to look through his telescope. He mocked those who clung to ancient ideas despite clear evidence. In 1632, Galileo published Dialogue concerning the two chief world systems. Though written as a debate, the book clearly favored heliocentrism. Worse, the character defending geocentrism, Simplicio, was portrayed as slow, stubborn, and foolish. Many believed Simplicio represented the Pope. Galileo had crossed a line, judgment before the Inquisition. In 1633, Galileo was summoned to Rome. At 68 years old, sick and exhausted, he faced the Roman Inquisition. He was accused of heresy, of teaching that Earth moved. Galileo was threatened with torture. His writings were condemned. His evidence was dismissed, not because it was wrong, but because it was dangerous. Broken and afraid, Galileo recanted. He denied that Earth moved around the sun. He was sentenced to house arrest for the rest of his life. The truth had been silenced, or so they thought.